Hi,
Hello.
hello. And hello everyone. And today I'm hosting Erika, and we are going to talk about her life in India, her experience there, and about relationships and Indian family. And I will ask you first of all, please introduce yourself a little bit. Where are you from? What do you do? So that our listeners can know you a little bit better.
Of course, of course. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Erika. I was born and raised in Colombia in South America. And I have been living in India for 3 years now. I arrived in November 2019. So, like, prior to COVID. So, it has been a little crazy. But yeah, I have been living here. I started living in Delhi and now I live in Northeast India.
That's
I I am a spiritual mentor and healer, and I work with women, especially teaching them and guiding them how to become fit from within using ancient Indian techniques. Because I am a yoga therapist, I work with a lot of energy healing, I work with Ayurveda and aromatherapy. So I love Indian culture and I have learned so much throughout the years. So I am super passionate about what I do.
Oh, that's really nice. And did you learn all this back in Colombia, or did you start doing this in India?
No, actually, I learned here. I came almost 8 years ago. I came to India to study yoga therapy, Ayurveda. I stayed here for like more than 6 months. I was backpacking, couch surfing, like traveling around India and studying. And energy healing, I started around 13 years ago. I have been very, very connected with the chakras. I have a deep connection. So I have been researching. Everything started because I was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. So I started like a lot of research and very interested in all ancient Indian wisdom that is so, so vast and so beautiful. So it has been a while, but of course, coming to India has helped me so much because I have learned a lot. So
Wow, that's
like it has
amazing.
been like a life's journey.
Yeah, and I would like to ask you, so you were interested in Indian culture for a long time. How did it start?
It has been very crazy actually. Like ever since I remember when I was a little girl, I was obsessed with India. It was something that it was very weird, but I was like always interested in Indian culture. I would see Indian movies. Like I am a huge fan of Bollywood movies. I love the music. I always been very very interested in India, in Indian culture. I have been a dancer all my life, so there was a time when I started Kathak, like learning Kathak in Colombia. I started dancing for the Indian embassy in Colombia. Then I started learning a little bit of Odissi, Bharatanatyam a little bit also. Like not in a professional way, I always wanted to, but like life just takes you to many ways. So yeah, I have always been interested, and when I was 27, I guess I was like in the uh, 30s crisis, and I was like freaking out about my life and what was going to happen and what I was going to do. So for New Year's, I just committed myself that I was going to come to India. I didn't know how or when, but I was just like, next year in my birthday, I'm going to be in India. I'll just leave it to God and the universe, and it will happen. And I had been dancing Oriental dance for a long time. It was like almost 13 years that I started Oriental dancing. And I was getting trained as an Oriental dance teacher. And my mentor actually invited me to participate in an international Oriental dance competition in Egypt to participate like in Colombia's name. And yeah, so like everything started falling into place, no? So like I got invited, and then my parents already knew that I wanted to come to India, so they said like, okay, you're going to be in Egypt. might as well just jumped, to India instead of coming back to Colombia and then in December going back to India. So that's how it happened. I stayed in Egypt for 2 weeks, and then in June I arrived in India, and I stayed 6 months traveling and studying and like living. I didn't actually wanted to be a tourist in India, so I did couch surfing. So I was staying in local houses, so I was able to um, explore a little bit the culture and like get to know the people better, because I never like to be a tourist, like to go to tourist places and like to meet foreign people, because it's kind of boring. You're not able to get to know the country well. So that's what I did. My parents were freaking out, of course, because they're like, "Are you crazy? How are you going to stay in a people's house?" But I didn't know. Like, I was always a planner in my life, and in that trip, I was just like, I'm just letting the universe to choose for me. So like, this is happening, and of course, it was a little scary at the beginning, but I traveled around India. I visited 25 cities. I met amazing people. I actually met one of my best friends with whom I traveled with. She's from Barcelona, and we traveled 6 months together. So it was like crazy. But yeah, that's how it happened. And as soon as I came back to Colombia, I was like, I have no idea how this is going to happen, but I'm going to go back. Like,
No,
so that was crazy. And when I came back to Colombia, I was like, I'm going back. I'm going back. I have no idea how this is happening, but I'm going back. And I started working for the Indian embassy as a yoga teacher. We started like organizing events, like yoga events. Then I started dancing for the Kathak group in the Indian embassy.
wow.
And yeah, so like I started, I don't know, like pulling Indian people to my life. Very
Yeah.
weird.
And are there many people in Colombia who are also in love with Indian culture?
Well, there's two groups, no? Like in India, either you love, like I don't think in Colombia, like in the rest of the world, there are people that love India and people that hate India. Like I have talked to people and they're like, I would never ever go to India, even if I get plane tickets, hotel, everything. Like, no, that's not going to happen. And other people are like, my dream is to go to India. No, so like it varies a lot. I guess that it has been the experience that other people has lived, and then they go back and they talk whatever from their own perspective. So it's very weird. It's very different. India is a love and hate kind of relationship. You
Yeah.
either love it or hate it, because it's very contrasty. It's very, a lot of things happen. So like
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
either
exactly.
you can either enjoy it or you just like hate it. I feel that that's how it is. So like my family always have loved India and they want to come, but or some of my friends are like, are you crazy? Like, why don't you go somewhere else? So yeah.
And I would like to ask you, what was your first impression about India when you went there for the first time? You visited so many places. Which place did you like the most? How did you feel there? Like at home, or you were maybe disappointed? Because as you said, some people, whoever go to India, there are only two options. Either you fell in love forever, or you start hating this country. So how it was with you?
To be honest, I'm very fond of adventure. So like I always put myself into very uncomfortable situations. I don't know why. So my first trip to India was not different from that. So like there was a lot of things to digest, I guess. Like the first time I arrived in Delhi, my host picked me up in the airport. He was really, really nice. He treated me very well. But then I just went and took the metro, and of course everyone was looking me very weird. I arrived in June, so like it's the peak of
Yeah,
summer. So, and I am from the mountains in Bogota, so like you can imagine like the heat of India versus Colombia. Like I was dying of heat. So I was sweating like a pig. I was like sweating, and I was in the metro, and everyone was looking at me like very weird. I didn't understand what was happening. And then I went down of the train, and of course, two guys approached me, and they say like, there is a wagon for women, so you can just be there like more comfortable. No, of course, I jumped in the first wagon that I saw, and it was full of men, and I was sweating, and like, and now like of course I looked very different. So it was weird. But what I every time that I come to India, and every place that I have gone to, I have experienced as an adventure. No, like I know that anything can happen, so I am open to discover a lot of things, because India always brings surprises. Like I will, like, even if I have been living here for 3 years, like there's a lot of things that still amaze me. Like my husband is like, can you please, because he's driving and something happens and I'm like, oh, and he's like, what happened? I'm like, nothing, there is a cow in the water. And he's like, can you please not do that? Like that is normal. I can just crash the car because I think something and I am just amazed. Like there things happen, like a lot of things happen. So I guess the way that I see things in India are like amazing. Like I always get astonished about everything that happens, so I don't struggle a lot. But I guess if you take it a lot with your heart, you're going to struggle a little bit. And of course I try to avoid things that don't make me feel good or whatever, because like there is a lot of contrast. There is a lot of rich people, but there is a lot of poor
Yeah.
people. But one of the things that I have always admired about India is that even if you go to like villages or places where like there are not a lot of how do you say, like there is no much development, people are happy and people welcome you in the house, and they bring you chai, and they bring you biscuits, and like people are so loving and so caring that I have never seen that anywhere in the world, like anywhere. And there, actually, Mother Teresa said that when she came to New York for the first time, she said that she lived in Kolkata, and Kolkata, it's one of the poorest places in India where you can find a lot of um, struggles. But she had never seen people so miserable than in New York. So that was shocking, because for her it was a big shock, because in India everyone, like they believe in, we believe in karma. So like you have to be happy. Happiness is a choice. It's not, it's like a decision you make every time you wake up. So you just choose to be happy. Either you have a lot of things or you haven't. So it's just like a sense of humility, like humbleness, and understand that it's just like life is how it is, and you just have to enjoy it and be grateful for whatever you have. And that is something that I have admired so much. Like everyone in India are very grateful, like for whatever they have. If, either they have a lot or they don't, they're grateful. And that is amazing, because in the West we complain all the time and we're victims,
Yeah.
like like I don't have this, I don't have that, I want this, I want
Exactly.
that. But we are complaining all the time instead of just being grateful for whatever we have and wherever we are. So that was one of the things that I adored about India, is just like people are just amazing. People are so welcoming. It's very different. It's a different culture, but like they always have a sip of chai. And I have a story. It's very funny, because we were in the train, and we were taking, it was a very long train, like around 17 18 hours. And I was with Marta, my friend from Barcelona, and we used to eat like snacks, no, because of course we don't know the food in the train, and then Indian spices are very, very strong. So usually whoever comes to India gets Delhi belly because you're just not used to the spices, so you get very sick. So we would just eat whatever we know, like chips or like Oreos or like bread with Nutella. That was our food. And it was already at night. We were ready to go to bed, and this family, it was a big family, and the head was like the grandmother, and the grandmother was surprised that we were eating like Oreo cookies, and she was like and we were like of course, no, thank you, we can't eat, we're okay. She didn't let us go to sleep with our bellies empty, so she decided to give us their food, and then she
Oh,
gave us everything. She gave us puri, she gave us chole, he gave us everything. And we were like, oh my, and I was like, please God, I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be sick. And I was eating. Of course, it was delicious, absolutely delicious. And we didn't get sick. But like getting sick in a train while you're traveling 17 hours, it's
yeah.
not a good idea. But we couldn't say no to her. She was like so insistent, like she was insisting so much that we were like, okay, we have to do this. And it was so special. No one does that anywhere in the world. Who is going to take a little piece of food and give you as like and give to a stranger? And I adore it. Like we ended up loving that woman so much, and we are like, oh my God, she fed us so much. Like, people are so loving, and I really appreciate that, because no matter who you are, where you are, they're always open to give them your hand and give some help.
Yeah, and is it not the same in your own country? Because I know that people are from Colombia, they are also so friendly, they are so sweet. I would say all South Americans, I think. I don't know, how do you feel? Is it a big difference between Colombians and Indians?
I don't, well, in Colombia, I don't think someone is going to give you food in the
No,
train or something. I don't think that's going to happen. People are very, how do you say in English? It's like you're very hesitant, like,
yeah,
and if someone offers you food, you're like, what is happening? Like, why are you giving me food? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe in the West it's something that happens, or I don't know if it's just in Colombia, but I don't think that happens very often, that you're in the park and people just will just give you food. Whether here is just like, I don't know. It's different. I have never thought about it, but I don't think it's people in Colombia are very open. People in Colombia are very welcoming. But if you come to their house, like we're great hosts, and but not like just random acts of kindness in the street. And I don't think that happens very often.
yeah. And my favorite question, probably you heard it million of times. How did you meet your husband? Did it happen in India or how did it happen? Maybe during your trip, can you please share your beautiful love story with us?
It's very, very funny, because the moment I jumped in the plane to Egypt, my father said, like, just to myself, he hugged me, he kissed me, and he said, like, please don't come married with an Indian. And I was like, are you crazy? I'm just going to travel. That's not going to happen. And actually, I didn't meet my husband here in India in my trip. I met wonderful people, but like I was not very sure that I was going to marry an Indian after my trip. I was like, yeah, they're very nice, but no, thank you. I don't think that's going to happen. I had a lot of downs also with my host, so I was not very convinced about it. Actually, when I came back from India, I did a leadership program, and I was like a staff, like a leader for
Mhm.
some teams. And one of my students, she used to work for an Indian company, and
Oh,
we connected very well. Like it was very, very impressive how we connected. We had a lot of things in common, and of course, India was a big thing in common we had. Um, so in 2019, in 2018, she was going to celebrate her birthday, and the idea was like, okay, I just want to do a big party because it's my birthday, and I just want to do whatever. And I am not very fond of parties or drinking or like bars. I am not that kind of person. So I was struggling a lot to go to her birthday, but I was like, she's very close to me. I'm very fond to her. So I had to go. It was like very struggling, I have to say. I didn't even put much effort to look like my best. I was just like, okay, let's do this. Um, and then like the plan was like, we're 10 girls, we're just going to find some guys to dance with and chill out and everything. And I was like, oh, I hate that plan. Like whenever a stranger takes me out, invites me to dance or whatever, I'm like, no, thanks. I hate it. So I was just not very convinced about it. And I arrived to the bar, and literally there was 10 girls dancing in the dance floor, and there was this guy sitting in a couch, like drinking something, and he was so bored, like really bored. And I was like trying to make the story up, no, like who is he? Maybe he's married to some of them, and they're like having a blast, and this is like he is not having fun. So then the music stopped, and my friend came, and she's like, hi, it's so good to see you, blah blah blah. And then she took me to him, and she said like, this is Rahul. He works with me. He's from India. And I was like, really? And he's like, don't I look like Indian? I was like, no, no, you look Colombian. And he's like, right? I'm like, no, you look very Indian. Like, and she said, like, this is Erika. She is obsessed with India. We don't understand why. No one understands why. So talk. And that was it. We started talking, and he's like, why do you like India? I'm like, I have no idea. Like it's something that I've always said, that I am Colombian by blood, but Indian by heart,
Yeah.
because it's something very, very close to my heart. So I don't know, like I knew a lot of religion, I knew a lot about yoga, I knew a lot about, the Vedic tradition, like Ayurveda, Bhagavad Gita, like all these things. And he was like, but why? I'm like, I have no idea. Just happened, you know. So that night we couldn't stop talking, and then the next day he invited me out, and then 8 days later we hung out, and then 5 months later we started living together. And of course, when I told my family, they were like, really, you had to come to Colombia to meet an Indian? I was like,
That's true. It was a destiny.
yeah. Like it didn't happen in India, and it just like happened here. I don't know, like that is life. So yeah, that's how we met, like the most awkward way. Sometimes I talk to him and I'm like, we should invent like we met in Taj Mahal or something, like backpacking through India, so our kids feel very, like, oh, it's like such a love, like a romantic story, no? Not like in a bar, but like, yeah, well, because we're like, we both are not big drinkers, we don't like bars that much, so it's like not us meeting in a bar. So sometimes I feel we should just like create a fictitious story that is more like a fairy tale instead of that. But yeah, like that's how it works.
No, but it's still like a fairy tale. You met an Indian in your own country. It's like in a place where you would never go, and here would never go
Yeah.
there. So it is a fairy tale.
Yeah, actually I partied more in India than in Colombia, to be honest. So
Yeah, that's amazing. And can you please tell me how fast did you understand that he is the one with whom you would like to spend your life with, and which qualities impressed you the most in your husband?
it has been something very weird, because since day one we got like a very, very strong connection, like as if we had known each other forever. One of the things that really, really interested me is like, even though we grew up in different countries, like way, way far away from each other, we were raised in a very similar way. Like our values were very similar, like he's very fond of his family. I am very fond of my family. Like he's pampered. I am super pampered. You know, like all these things that
Yes.
we grew up in a very similar ways, and we we think very much alike. Like we have a lot of things in common. Um, but we started getting along very well. Like we since day one, I was very clear with him with a lot of things that I wanted, and he was just like super open, and he was very clear about like we even talked about coming to live in India like 3 days later, you know, like very soon. And he said like, are you willing to go to live in India for a while? And I said like, my bags are packed, like they're being packed like forever, you know. So like we know that we are like adventurous souls. We like traveling, we like experiencing new things, so we connected very well. And it had, like when I met him, it was very different from all the guys that I had met before, you know. Like it was something that clicked, that it, like I felt um that I was home. Like he was something. I don't know if you know much about energy, but like we are very polarizing. That means that when I am in my most strong masculine energy, and I am very active, and I am very productive, and I'm very structured, he's very flexible, and he's just like open, you know. And then the other way around, he's very stable, he's very grounded, and I am super sensitive. And you know, like we're just like we connect
Yeah.
in very in like in like magnet, no, like with positive and negative. So we just complement each other. When he's strong, I am not, and then when I'm strong, he's not. And you know, like these things that I never felt with anybody. Like in Colombia, I mostly felt that there was a lot of uh, uh, I don't know how to say it in English, but it's like in Colombia, it's like a very macho society, where like everything has to be done like the your way, like the men's way, and the women are just like the followers, and you know. And in this case, with him was very different, because he was very open. He was very and he was willing to bring me to his family and ask for his blessing. That was a very big thing, because in India that is not very common, no? Like usually arranged marriage is still here. So he already had like a line of people waiting to get married with him. So when he decided that he wanted me to come to meet his parents, I was like, are you sure? Like, are we really doing this? Because in all the Indian movies, what happens is like you have like this amazing love and
Yeah.
affair and everything, and in the end, he has to come to India and he gets married, and the love story is over. You know, like that is it. So when he always knew he didn't want to marry an Indian.
No?
And no, yeah, he was sure. Like all the girls his parents introduced to, he was like, yeah, it's not. He always found like, you know, like any excuse, whatever. And I always knew that I was not going to end up with a Colombian. There was a lot of things that I didn't like. And I like I believe a lot in the law of attraction. So I wrote a long time ago how I wanted the guy like my husband to be.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I wrote is like, I don't want him to be Colombian. I want him to be and preferably I don't want him to speak Spanish. I wanted him to speak another language. So yeah, like I don't know, things just like fell into place. It was just like a puzzle that was just like missing a piece. And then he was living in Colombia for 6 months. Like he didn't spend that much time there, no.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
that was it.
amazing. Yeah, I just see one comment. Yeah, there is one girl. She's from Czech Republic and her boyfriend is Indian. They never met yet, but they're going to meet. So she said that my boyfriend was also always sure he wasn't he wants to marry a foreigner. So, so that
Yeah, yeah. I feel that I believe in energies and I believe in the soul and I believe that the soul always knows what she wants, you know, like either so like he knew he didn't want to marry an Indian, and he knew that not because he has something against Indian woman or whatever. No, he knew that he wanted something else. No, and
Mhm.
that same happened to me. Like I knew, and it didn't work out with anyone. You know, like in the end, the guys I dated, it didn't work out, and it was because my soul was waiting for something else, a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
bit
I can
far. You
understand
know.
you very well because I felt the same that I will not marry someone who is from Russia. That was my feeling, so I can understand.
Exactly. It's just something that your soul is longing for, and it like until it finds itself, it's not going to stop. I feel that that is how it works. It's just like yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, and what about your family? You told already that your father was hoping that he will not marry an Indian alphabet.
No, actually, like not because he didn't like the culture. He's in love with Indian culture. He loves India. He already came here once and he loved it so much. The thing is very far. Like I am like 36 hours away from home. No, if something happens, it's going to be a hassle for me to, like 1 month ago, my brother got into an accident. He was hit by a car and it was horrible. It was just like I felt that my life was finishing, because I was very far and I could not be there and I could not go to the hospital. So like in the end, he wanted me to be a little closer, like
Yeah,
not that far. He knew that I was not going to end living in Colombia, but he didn't expect me to go like all around, like all around the world away from him. But they're very happy. They love him. Of course, in the beginning there was a very interesting cultural difference because he's very quiet. He's very like
yeah,
reserved, and we are not. So Colombians are like "Wah, wah, wah," So it's kind of weird. So my dad was like, "Are you sure? Like you want, like he's very reserved, he's very quiet, and you're just like all over the place. I just like talk too much, But no, they loved him since the beginning, and he's been very very good to me. He's super protective. He cares so much, and for them that is what's really important, no? And
yeah.
they always knew that I would end up marrying an Indian. So when we told them, because I went in 2017, we came to India in October, and in September we went back to Colombia, and he was going to ask my parents for my hand. Thing that in India doesn't happen like that. In India, you just like your parents set up a chai meeting and then with the two families. So no, he had to talk to my parents, no? And he was like, "But how am I going to do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. You just have to ask my dad, like, I want the hand of your daughter." And he's like, "What? How am I going to do this?" I'm like, "I don't know. Just like watch the movies and you just have to do that." So that moment when we told them, like he said that we had already committed in India, we had already have his parents' blessing. So he was seeking his blessing, like their blessings. And my dad was like, "Really? So how do you want the wedding to be? Indian or Colombian?" And I was like, "Can you be more sensitive about it? Like, can you cry? Can you do something?" And he was like, "I already knew that was going to happen." I was like, "Papa, like, why?" He was already like ready. And I was like, I just expected that, like fireworks. And he was like, "Oh, my daughter, and no, he was like already done and he was already planning the wedding. Like he works in advertising, so he was all the creative thing, like his brain was all creative, like how are we going to do this? Are we going to blend the two cultures? And are we going to do this and that? And I was like, okay, this was not how I expected this to end up. He was like super excited because he already knew, and he knew that I always wanted to this, no? So that's how
Yeah.
it ended up being.
Yeah, no, that's really great. And I would like to ask, how did your husband feel himself in Colombia? What did he like the most about your country? Was there something maybe what he couldn't understand, couldn't accept because it's totally different culture there?
Yeah, there's two things. He liked Colombia a lot. Colombia, he loved Colombia. He loved traveling around Colombia. He really enjoyed. The people are very different from Indian people. Like still, we're very warm. We're very uh, huggy. We are very kinesthetic. So we like being in contact. You know, here in India, it's just not like that. You just barely, like bow to each other, but like there's no hugs there. So for him, it was like a little bit overwhelming, like, okay, why are these people hugging me if I don't know them? But he got used to it. And of course, in Colombia, we had a lot of wedding showers, and all my aunts, uncles, and everyone wanted to hug him. And, like in the beginning, he was like, what is happening? But he was very, he appreciated, and he felt really loved, and he like differently loved. No, not that in India he is not loved, he's very loved, but like in
Yeah,
Colombia he was like too much loved. So he really liked that. He really liked like the country. He loved the country. But there is one thing that he has always mentioned that it's very, very interesting, and is that in Colombia we are very, because we're so friendly, and like we don't like things to go wrong.
yeah,
Sometimes we mask words a little bit, so we don't say things that straightforward. We're just like, so in the corporate world, he struggled a lot because people will do some like the work very bad, and then the boss would say like, it was not bad, instead of saying you sucked at it. Like it
yeah,
was horrible, you could do a better job. You would say like, no, it was not that bad. So he struggles a lot because we make up things a little bit so they're not that harsh. And here in India, people just like spit it out, like. So that is something that we have had issues with, because he says things straightforward and they hurt a lot. And he's
yeah,
like, but I am not going to tell you a lie. And I'm like,
yeah,
no, but you can say it like a little, is like, with a little bit of love. And he's like, yeah, no, this is how it is. So
yeah,
that was something that for him was like very odd. It's like, why don't people just say you suck, like you're very bad, instead of you can do better. And I'm like, because you're a nice person and you just don't want to hurt other feelings. He's like, if you don't hurt other feelings, people are not going to learn, no? So of course I don't want to say every Indian is like that, or everyone everywhere varies, no? But he's very straightforward. He like, and that's one of the things that I have struggled the most, is like, my parents never told me the things he's told me, no? And sometimes I'm like, but why did you say it like that? Like you could have said it in a different way. So yeah, that was something that it shocked him in Colombia. That is like, no, you have to be straightforward. You have to say the things. If you want results, you need things. So yeah, I've been having to learn about it. And he just like coming back to India, he's like, yeah, things are like that.
yeah. But I think it's actually not like that in India. I didn't meet so many really straightforward people who would just say what they didn't think. I think it's a little bit different. So your husband is actually, he's a very different person, I would say. Because in India, it's also more like in Colombia. They will prefer not to hurt you, or just maybe just try to say it in a different way, something like that. Yeah. So I
Yeah,
think
yeah. Like in the comments, someone said that like it is not all Indians like that, and still like not Colombians are very condescending as well. No? So like there's people to people, no. But I feel that yeah, like for him it was like a little bit shocking because he's just like that. He's just like straightforward, and I was not used to that. Like things just like in your face. So that was something that we struggled in the beginning with.
And what type of marriage did you have? Did you marry by Indian tradition, or did you also have a Colombian marriage?
No, no, actually we had a civil marriage. I don't like, I am Catholic, but I don't believe in Catholic church. So like I've never been in the church, and I never wanted to get married in the church because there's a lot of things and rituals about the Catholic wedding that I don't agree with. So I didn't feel like doing it, especially the white dress, because
Yeah.
I love colors, and like I am obsessed with Indian dresses. So I was like, no, I'm going. And of course, entering a church with an Indian dress, like my dress was salmon with green, like it would be weird. So
Yeah.
I didn't want to marry it in the church. We had a civil wedding in Colombia. And the idea was to get married here in India in April 2000, like a year later in
Mhm.
April 2020, but then COVID hit, no? So we didn't get married. And then in 2021, COVID was there as well. And Delhi was very, very bad. The situation was horrible. So we didn't get married here because in India, like the wedding is like a big, fat wedding. No? So like we had to invite a lot of people, and so in 2021 we didn't get married, and in 2022 we said like, yeah, well, we're not going to get married again. It's been 3 years now, no? So like it's so stupid. So we just ended up not having an Indian wedding. uh, I have to confess that I wanted an Indian wedding, like I wanted all these, but my parents organized an amazing wedding in Colombia. Very, very. It ended up being more Indian than Colombian because, of course, everyone was more excited about India than Colombia, so everyone wanted to wear Indian dresses, and so it ended up being very much Indian. But like for example, this year in May, we celebrated my in-laws 50th anniversary, and we invited 100 people.
Wow.
Uh, so it was like insane. No, 300, 350 people were here, and that is nothing. Like for an Indian celebration,
Yeah, not
that's
so
a
much.
very, like that's a baby shower.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine what would have been with like, an Indian wedding here and everything. But in the end, it just didn't happen, and we just let it go. Like it's something that it's not that important. We are officially married, but yeah, it was like a civil wedding.
Oh, yeah. Just I see one more comment. My boyfriend is actually Catholic, and we want to get married in church. Even he is from a Hindu family. He got interested in Christianity, and me actually too. My family isn't religious, so it can happen even this way. Yeah, that's some.
Yeah, Raul wanted to become Catholic, and I was like, yeah, that is not happening. And of course, in Hinduism, you don't convert. You just like there's no conversion in Hinduism.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't want him to convert to Catholicism because I believe in a lot of things, but I don't believe in a lot of things. So that was kind of weird. So yeah, but a lot of people convert. A lot of people do. Like it. I feel that it depends a lot in the relation and in the couple, and like in the beliefs of everybody. I believe a lot of things of Hindu religion, no? So it's kind of something that it's embedded in me. And in the Catholic thing, in the Catholic religion, I believe a lot in a lot of other things. But what is beautiful about Hinduism, and there is a book that is called Why Am I a Hindu? It explains that Hinduism, it's not um, like a religion like any other religions, because Hinduism accepts any other religions as well. So like, you can be a Hindu, but you can believe in the Virgin Mary, and that doesn't make you less a Hindu, you know, because here in India, there is a lot of religions. There is a lot of states that participate in a lot of rituals. So you, like, for example, in Goa, there's a lot of Catholicism, and there's Muslims, and there's mosques. So like, Hindus believe in all the gods, because in the end, like, we believe in a stronger energy, no, like, and it's the same. The other religions like Judaism and Muslims and Catholicism, they believe there is only one and only God, no? So like, that is the difference. And Hindus don't believe in that. That was one of the things that I struggle with my parents, because I have a temple, but in my temple there is Buddha, there is Ganesh, and there is the sacred family, no? And my dad was like, why would you do that? Like, you're just attempting to all religions. And I'm like, no, because I believe in all of them, you know? So
Yes,
he feels that he's cheating on his religion if he prays to Ganesh. I feel that Ganesh is as close to me as Jesus, you know, like, I don't feel a difference between both. So that is kind of what I feel. Probably I am wrong, but that is my point of view. And that is how I have understood Hinduism in the many years that I have been studying Hindu religion and Buddhism. It's just like, you just believe there is a stronger force, but you don't have a name, you don't have an image. It's just there, no?
yeah, yeah, of course. And how are your relation with your parents-in-law? Because you probably know that not all Indian family are always happy when their son decides to marry someone from totally different culture. How did they accept the fact when he told them that he wants to marry a foreigner? What was the reaction?
Well, the first reaction was not very, they were not very happy about it. I guess they had a lot of ideas of how Western society works. Like, one of the biggest fears of my father-in-law is that in West there's a lot of divorce. No, like,
Yeah,
couples don't last longer or don't fight. You know,
exactly.
like, arranged marriage works a lot like that, because you just don't give up. In West, we just marry because of love, and then love finishes, and then the marriage is over. So like, he was a little worried about that. But like, my family, my parents have been together for all their lives. Like, they met in school, so like, they have a very, very long lasting relationship. So that was one thing. And like, that in West, a lot of people like marry, and you know, like, they have four husbands like that. So my father-in-law was not very fond about the idea of like the foreign marriage because of that. And my mother-in-law, she struggled a little bit more with the culture, no? She was like, what is she going to eat? Like, does she eat curry? Or, you know, like, uh, is she going to accept all the uh, cultural cues that we have? Is she going to adapt? You know, like, she was more worried about the logistics instead of like the background. My That is how they are, no? Like, my father-in-law is more deep in that sense. My mother-in-law is more just like, in like, how is it going to work, no?
Yes.
But we have gotten along very, very well. We actually live together. There is some issues. My mother-in-law doesn't speak English. I don't speak Hindi. it has been 3 years. I understand a lot of things. So like when I hear conversations, I understand, but I don't speak.
Yes.
And she doesn't speak English, or she speaks 2 words and I speak 3 words in Hindi. So like to have a responsible conversation together, it's not very easy.
Yeah, of course.
So that has been an issue. My father-in-law speaks perfectly because he lives in UK. He lived in UK, so he speaks and we connect and we understand each other very well. But with my mother-in-law, we have that there is a very very big gap in the language, and also like I guess what I have realized throughout the years is that she had a very different idea of my husband is the only male in his family. He has 3 sisters. So in Indian family, the male is like the one who uh, inherits all the family's everything. So
Yeah,
like because the sisters already got married and they went to be a part of their husband's family, no? So he is the one who's going to be in charge of everything his parents have built up and everything. So um, I believe it has been a process for me to figure this out, but I believe that she had a very different idea of how things were going to look like, like uh, having a male for them was very, very important. So one of the things they really, really wanted to get him married, and there was no Indian wedding. We got married in Colombia. They couldn't come to our wedding because it was very far. And of
yeah,
course, them coming to Colombia, it was a hassle because the culture, the food, like all these things. So, since from that point, and a lot of other things have happened that, like she expects me to do things that I, since day one, talked to him and I said, like, it is not going to happen. So, like, just forget about it.
yes,
All these like Indian culture is very open in a lot of things, but of course like the his mom has always dedicated her life to the kitchen and she loves cooking, and we always eat fresh food because nutrition is very important. So like she's very very keen about food and everything. And I in Colombia we cook like very quick. So like like we don't spend 6 hours in the kitchen. That is not going to happen. And I am not going to spend half of my life cooking.
yeah,
So I try to do things that are very quick and easy. And probably like we have never had this conversation, but I feel that she expects me to be more in the kitchen, more involved in like all these household chores and all these things. That since the beginning I told him like I can do things like very but like I am not going to spend my life doing this. So he understands, but like probably she had another expectation. I don't know. We have never spoken about it, but I feel that sometimes she gets a little frustrated, I guess, because like she had one idea and it's not happening. So I don't know. Like this is who I am, and I told him since the beginning, and we have spoken about it, and we have like I am foreigner and I will always be foreigner, no? So I'm not going to become Indian just because I got married to him. So there is a lot of things that I want to do. I want to work. I want to be independent.
yeah.
That probably it's like they don't expect that. So yeah, we have a very 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 close relationship, um, but there are some things that just don't work out.
Yeah, and I see a comment of this girl. Yeah, I think a lot of girls have the problem because of the language gap. You can't really communicate. You can't explain what you really want, what you really feel, and because of that, there can be a misunderstanding. I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
most of the times, like actually in the beginning, we had a very, very big misunderstanding because she said something, I understood something, her dad said so, his dad said something. And then, like, of course, I whatever I understand, I get super emotional about it. So like she's very scared to say things because I'm going to misunderstand them, and I am scared for her, like, to hear what she says because I'm going to misunderstand it. So like it is very complicated because in the end there is a language barrier. So like she uh, gets some things, I get some other things, and in the end we don't get the things right, and it's very complicated. So his dad insists a lot that I should learn Hindi.
Yes.
The
How
thing
did
is,
you
I
learn?
don't. I was in class, like I got some classes with a teacher. The thing is, there is no better way to learn the language than to speak with somebody, no? And
Yes.
like we don't, like I don't have people to speak. I live in a very very small town
Yes.
where there are no friends, or like I just I do everything online, and do everything in English. So the connections or the contact I have with Hindi speakers is very less. And I don't go to the store. We go to the mall, and he
Yes.
speaks. So like the thing is, one of the problems has been COVID, no?
Yeah, of
When
course.
we came to COVID, when we came to India, COVID happened, and we stayed in the apartment for so long, like an entire year in the apartment. Then we came here to visit my in-laws, and we stayed here again for 9 months or 1 year. And then every time I go out with him. He speaks, and I don't have acquaintances. I don't have friends. I don't get to socialize much because we live in a very, very small place. And we have been wanting to move to a big city, but the offices haven't opened because of COVID, no? Because COVID is still there. So,
Yeah.
like, so his office is not open yet. So we're just praying for the office to open so we can move to a big city and have like a social life or something. But for now, like we're good here, but then the language is something that the other thing is that in India, every state has different languages, no?
Yeah.
So I live in West Bengal, so people speak Bengali, they don't speak Hindi.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
of course.
like that is worse because like I can't learn Bengali now, and then who's going to learn Hindi? My mother-in-law, she speaks Bihari
Yeah.
and Hindi. My husband speaks Hindi with them, but then like for example the girl that helps us speaks Bengali. So when I hear, I am like, this is not Hindi, right? No, it's Bengali. So it's a problem because there is a lot of languages moving on, and then like the people that are here with whom I can talk to, they speak another language that it's not Hindi.
Yeah.
So it's very complicated, and in the end, in India, in big cities, everyone speaks English.
Yeah, that's
So I
true.
just need to learn Hindi because of my mother-in-law. But it has been very complicated because I don't have anyone to speak to.
Yeah, because you are living in a state where it's not a national language. Yeah. So,
Yeah, so everyone speaks Bengali. So
yeah. Yeah.
it's very difficult.
And I see one question: how your husband convinced his parents to love marriage to foreigner?
Um, we had been dating for a while. We met in Colombia. We had been dating for a while. We were actually living together, and uh, he felt like okay, it's time to tell them. So he always came to India. He had tickets to come to visit his family, and he came 2 weeks earlier than me, and he came to talk to them, and he said like, this is what's happened. I met one girl in Colombia. I want to marry her. We've been going out for a long time, blah blah blah. And then he spent 2 weeks like getting them used to the idea that um, and then he explained that he always wanted to get married with like with someone like me that has like traveled the world, some things like that. And then I came, So like he prepared them to pick me up in the airport, and I stayed here with them, and we got to know each other. And of course, like his mom was very worried about the food, but I am absolutely fond about Indian food, so I would eat more than them. And his dad was like, "Don't eat too much because what if you get sick?" Because when Raul came, he got sick because he was not used to spice anymore, no. And I was eating like a pig, like you know, and they were like, "My God, she eats so much." So like she's my mother-in-law started getting like fresh because like I'm very fond of Indian food. I love all the subjis, the dals. I love vegetarian food. So like we got along very well, and I stayed here for almost 10, 12 days until they like his dad said like, okay, let's buy the ring, and then you get committed, and then you go back to Colombia as a committed couple, so engaged couple. So we just went back to Colombia being engaged
Oh, wow, that's
with
nice.
their blessing. Yes.
Yeah, that's really that your husband didn't have any troubles with his family, like it can happen. I heard many stories like this. So someone is asking, "Are you vegetarian?"
It's very funny. I have been on and off vegetarian. I like more vegetarian food than non-vegetarian food. My husband is not vegetarian at
Yeah.
all. He loves non-veg, like loves. So I always thought that I was going to marry an Indian and become, it would be easier for me to become vegetarian.
Yeah, but
But
it's
no,
complicated.
he eats a lot of, not a lot. We eat like once or twice a week chicken or fish. But I try to be mostly vegetarian because I don't like, I have a very strong feeling about animals. So like I struggle a lot. In Colombia, we eat a lot of meat,
Yeah,
uh,
that's true.
a lot. Like in Colombia, we are meat eaters. For example, my family can't imagine their life without meat. It's just like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So they can't be like, they can't imagine. I have stopped eating non-vegetarian for a long time. Sometimes I eat chicken, but I try not to. But I don't like, I can't even get near cows because I love cows so much. Like I feed them, I love them. My mother-in-law suffers a lot because every time cows come, I just go down and give them food and like pamper them. And she's like, they're in the street. I'm like, I love them so much, you know.
Yes,
I
I
love
feel the
animals. So
same.
like, so I try not to eat. And now I'm pregnant, so like it's very difficult because a lot of like non-veg is not
Yeah.
appealing for me. So I've been talking to the doctor and like, how, what can I do? Because my husband, my father-in-law is like, you have to eat chicken. I'm like, I don't feel like eating chicken. So I am trying my best to put some protein to the baby, but like I am not very fond of it. So I'm like struggling with it, but
Yeah, I can imagine. I also feel the same. I don't like beef. I never like it. Okay, I'm also from non-veg family, and in Russia we also eat a lot of meat, but I never have. The only thing I like, I can become easily vegetarian. I can't stop eating fish. Fish, I really like it. It's just
yeah,
difficult to do.
for me it has been very difficult. Like the fish is the worst. Like I can't stand the smell. Like since I got pregnant,
Yeah,
I can't stand the smell. Like it's too much. So fish, mm-mm. And chicken, I can't. Like it has to be boneless, and I have to prepare it like in a Colombian way with just like salt, because I am not very fond of like right now curries are not doing good with me. I love paneer. I love curry, paneer butter masala, things like that. I can't eat right now because the curries, they are very very bad on my stomach. So I try to eat like forcefully a little, but I am not very fond. Um, sometimes yeah, like it's been a struggle, no? But what I was going to say is like in West it's very difficult to be vegetarian, first because there's very less variety of vegetables, and
Yeah,
second because we have no idea how to prepare them. Like when you think of a vegetarian person in Colombia, for example, is just like a person who eats raw salads. And within 1 month, you're just like fed up with raw salads, like lettuce, tomato, carrot. It's like, I can't eat this all my life. Like, this is horrible, you know? So, like, it's very difficult to be vegetarian because you don't know what to eat.
yeah,
Here in
that's it.
India, there's so many possibilities that you don't need to eat non-veg, you know, like there's so many ways to eat good and nutritiously without eating animal protein that it's easier. So I feel that it's more about ignorance, and I've always said that like people are not vegetarian because they don't know what to do with vegetables. And here in India, they're like vegetables I have never seen in my life, and they're like delicious. Like sobjis are perfect to eat, and you can do sobjis in many different ways, and there's so many varieties of vegetables that you have one vegetable per day, and then you have 3 weeks of different vegetables. So like it is amazing.
Exactly.
So I believe it's more like learning how to eat the vegetables and not eating just raw vegetables, because that, and the thing is raw vegetables are very bad for your digestion, no?
Yeah,
That's why half of the Western people struggle with constipation, because they eat everything raw and that is not very digestible. So we need to learn a little bit more. It's more about ignorance than other things.
yeah,
So if we research and learn how to prepare vegetables better, I think we can just stop, uh, like start reducing a little bit the animal intake.
yes, yes, I agree. And one question I see, I will just ask because otherwise I will miss it. How long you dated your husband before being introduced to his parents?
How?
How long you were dating to your husband before being introduced to his family?
Uh, 9 months.
9 months.
We met in December, and I met his parents, yeah, in September.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
around 8, 9 months.
9 months.
But
Yeah,
we started like living together like in 5 months. I always thought, and I always told myself, my mom was not very, she didn't agree much about this, but I was convinced that I wanted to live with the person before getting married. So I believe that it's very important. A lot of traditions, a lot of cultures, a lot of religions do not accept that, because of course,
yeah,
like, why, how are you going to do that, you know? But especially because we were from two different cultures, we eat two different kinds of food, and you know, it
yeah,
was very important for us to do that. So we moved in like together very, very quick, because we needed, like, I needed to, you know, like sort things out before things ended, because before things started. And of course, like the food is something that is very, very important. Like in Colombia, we don't need spices, we don't need spicy food. So like for him, Colombian food is very bland. For me, I struggled so much to eat Indian food in the beginning. Like I was just like eating the chicken, and I was like, oh, it's so spicy, you know? So like,
yeah.
and now that I am pregnant, like I have an excuse. So like I do my things, and whenever Papa tries it or something, he's like, it doesn't taste like much, and I'm like, yeah, it has salt, nothing else, just salt. And of course, for them is weird because just putting salt, like no turmeric, no uh, coriander, no, you know, like none of those things is weird, but I can't stand that. So like I just put a little bit of salt, and that is my meal for the day. So
Because you can't eat many things. I think for every woman it is different. Like some women can't stand fish, someone can't eat any meat. I couldn't even look at the meat. It was like, it was
Yeah,
really,
yeah. Like actually, one of the things that suits me the most is eggs and rice. Like we just like rice and just like scrambled eggs mixed with
yeah,
rice. That is very Colombian. And
yeah.
my in-laws and my husband is like, why are you eating that? It's like it's so delicious. And he's like, I don't understand. Like, how can you eat that? So yeah, we're very simple in food and in flavors. We're very, very simple in flavors. Indian cuisine is like super extravagant in flavors. So like sometimes finding a midpoint is difficult, but you have to fight to reach there.
Yes, and since we started to talk about food, I would like to ask what is actually your favorite dish and how does your husband like Colombian cuisine? Did he like any like specific maybe dishes?
Yeah, well, there's one dish he hates. It's like it's called lomo al trapo. It's like meat. It's a beef. It's like a very very big loaf of beef.
Yeah,
Uh, how do you say? Like put together. You just put a cloth around it and
yeah.
you tied it up, like a cloth full of salt, and you tied it up and you just put it into a fireplace
Oh,
and
okay.
you just let it cook inside like with the salt and in the fire. And he hated it. He's like, it is the worst thing that I have tried in my life. It's just salty. And people in Colombia are like fond of it. It's like, oh, you know, he hated it. But he liked a lot of plates. There is a platter that is one of my favorites, that is like bandeja paisa, is from Medellin. That is like beans. It's like it's crazy because it has beans, it has rice, it has sweet plantain, it has eggs, it has shredded beef. It has a lot of things. It's like so many things in one plate, but it's just like amazing. He likes that with a he, of course, like it's a lot of chili, so it can taste a little bit hot. And for me, I love Indian food, so like I love like snacks like chaat or
Mhm.
samosas. Now we live in Northeast India, so I am obsessed with momos, like mal, like I love momos. uh, but Indian food, I am in love with paneer, butter masala. I
Mhm.
love dals, like all the lentils, and like I really like non vegetarian food. So like anything that you can give me.
Mhm.
And there is a sweet that I am obsessed with, that is the kaju barfi.
Oh
That
yeah.
it's like I can't, like I can eat so much of that that it's just. And now I am craving a lot for yogurt because we eat, like in the at lunch we eat curry with or just like sabji vegetables with rice
Yeah.
and lentils. But we eat a lot of curd or dahi, that it's the yogurt we prepare here because we drink a lot of milk, like loads and loads of milk.
Yes.
And we prepare our own yogurt. So I am super fond of yogurt, so I drink yogurt all the time. And in for my breakfast, I eat something that is very Indian, that it's sabudana, that is
Ah.
like tapioca pearls. They do like actually different. It's mostly eaten in fasting, when
Mhm.
you fast. And I used to fast every single Monday. I spend my entire day fasting. Now I'm pregnant, I can't fast, so I eat sabudana every morning and I love it with yogurt. It's just like, but in Colombia we don't have sabudana, so for me it's just like wow, it's amazing. I love sabudana. So yeah, I love exploring Indian food. um, I love like spicy, and then when you eat like, for example, some spice, and then you eat kheer, that is like the milky thing with the little pasta and all these things. I love it. It's just so good. And Indian food is very, very good. And I am obsessed with I forgot the name. The little with the little rounded things with that are made with rice and lentils. Uh, I forgot the name. They're white. Oh, I don't remember. If someone can help me there,
Yeah,
they're made with a butter with rice and dal, um, and they're eaten with a soup with vegetables and chutney, peanut chutney.
okay.
I can't believe I forgot the name,
Yeah, I think I
but
know what
it's
you're talking about, but I don't remember. I think I know. Yeah, and do you cook Colombian food in India, or you mostly
no,
cook? No,
no, I no,
no.
I now I am cooking just for me because I I have to, but I don't because Italy, yes,
Ah,
Priya, I love you so much. Italy, I love Italy so much. It's just I can't stop eating. It's horrible. I start eating, and when I realize I have eaten like 10,000, and it's horrible because I feel super bloated, but I can't stop eating. Italy is like my very best dish ever, but
yeah,
I try not to, like, we try not to make it often because it's too much. I can't stop eating.
it's South Indian dish. Yeah, actually, yeah.
Yeah, Italy and sambar. Yes. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot all these names.
Yeah, yeah.
Saurabh, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
And
I don't cook Colombian food because I have been rejected sometimes when I cook it. Not rejected, but when they try it, they're like, "Meh, it doesn't taste."
yeah,
So in the beginning, I used to get like really disappointed, like out of, like this is what we eat, but for them it's not very interesting.
yeah,
So I just like stopped preparing things, and I just decided like Colombian food is not to make here. When I'm with my husband, I do prepare like, mashed potatoes or like some
yeah,
recipes that I used to do in the West. But no, with my parents-in-law, I don't, because they don't like it. Like they don't enjoy it that much, so I don't find like it interesting. And I can't put, like a lot of green chili in like a Colombian plate because it's weird. So yeah, I don't. I'm just like, whenever when I'm home I do it, but when I'm here, no, I try not to.
yeah.
But now I have to eat, like, for myself. I have to do everything because everything, and non-savory at all. So
Yeah,
sometimes my husband eats that.
yeah, I see the comment that my boyfriend is always like you Europeans don't use spices. Yeah,
Yeah, we don't.
yeah.
Tora
Can you speak
tora.
English? Yeah, one more question.
We
You already
just
said yes.
nahi tora tora Hindi tora. Actually, it's very funny because the Hindi that I have learned, it was a long time ago, and I learned in the. I am. Please don't laugh. I'm telling you, all the people that are watching this, please don't laugh. But I learned my Hindi from the train. So I traveled a lot 8 years ago. So mostly Hindi that I know, it's like from the train, and it's food. So I know how to not starve in India. But the way I learned it, it's because when I started hearing Hindi, there is a lot of words that don't make sense. Like, they enter my brain and they don't make sense, because they don't sound like anything. It's different when, like,
Yeah,
I am listening to Italian or like French, that are Latin or Roman languages, that they make sense. But in Hindi, it's just like it pops in my head and nothing happens. So I started learning because of the way they sound, no? So like how people used to say them. So I started learning like all these words like garam samosa, you know, like all these things that people say in the street, but I learned them in the way they talk them, no? So we went to Darjeeling, and we were in Tigers Hill, and this guy was like topi 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 top. He was selling hats. So all these words they get sick into my head because the way they sound. So like I learned a lot of words in Hindi, but it's just like because they sound interesting to me, no? And
Yeah.
I know how like nay bahut mehenga hai, that it's very very expensive. So I tell everybody, like every time I go
Very
shopping,
good.
is like nay bahut mehenga hai, bahut mehenga, and they're like what?
Yeah. Yeah, and the question, which part of India is your husband from? He's from originally from Darjeeling.
No, he's originally from Bihar.
Ah, okay.
Like his family, his ancestral place is in Bihar, but he grew up in Darjeeling.
Ah, okay, okay. Mhm. And
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So see, you got perfect accent when you were saying garam chai.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, that's how they say it in the trains. Yeah, very fast. Yeah, again and
Yeah.
again repeating the same. Yeah.
Oh, pani bottle, pani bottle. Yeah.
You're the best. Yes, I just remember that. Yes, when we traveled in the train. Yeah, it's always like that.
Yeah. So that is how like I remember the words just because the way they sound, it makes like they have a rhythm in my brain. So, but yeah, I can't make a phrase with it. Like I can't talk to my mother-in-law like that. It's just
So,
like we can't have a conversation with these words.
yeah, of course, I can understand, but I'm sure you will learn with time because you
Yeah, it takes
yeah,
time, I
when
guess.
you live in the country where everyone's, but okay, you are living now in the place where everyone speaks Bengali, so that's more
I
difficult.
need also like what I feel is like I need to have like people, you know, like you, or you know, like other foreigners that have acquaintances that are Hindi speakers, you know, like we can have like all the, like for example the wives of my husband's friends or things like that, that I have to talk with them because there is no other way. The
Yeah,
problem is that most of the young people like my age, they speak English, so
yeah,
like they're not going to talk um, Hindi to me because it's natural for them to speak to me in English. So like the problem is that I don't like when my husband worked 6 years in Ecuador, he didn't have a choice. In Ecuador, people don't speak English. So
yes,
he needed to speak Spanish. Like it was the only way he could communicate. But
yes,
here in India, a lot of young people speak English. So like, and the ones that don't speak, they're try because they see me and they know that I speak Hindi. So they try to speak in English. So no one talks to me in Hindi, you know? So it
yeah,
has been difficult because no one wants to talk to me in Hindi. And like, of course, for me, it's easier to speak in English because it's natural. So yeah, I guess with time, maybe with my children, I'm going to learn when they learn.
yeah,
So
of
that's
course.
why that's my hope.
Yes, you will have to learn, yeah, to help them at school, yes, so prepare for that.
So when I help them with the homework, they're going to say like, "Mama, that is not the way you say it, but at least I'm going to learn something."
Yes, that's true. And you already mentioned it that you don't really have any friends just this place where you are living now because it's a small place. But with whom do you prefer communicate? Do you have maybe some local girls with whom you can, I don't know, go out or who can visit you, or do you communicate more with expats maybe from other cities because there are so many Spanish speakers in India who are married and living there. I was surprised. I didn't expect that. And there are a lot of
Yeah,
other foreigners living in India, yes.
when I was living in Gurgaon, I started going to a spiritual science school. So I started hanging out with a lot of girls my age. They were like Indians, and we started getting along very well. When I came here, like there is not many people my age. Most of them are very elder or like, and I don't go out that much. So like usually, I have had my Instagram for a long time. So I have met like one of my like all of my closest friends in India are online. So we talk to each other, we call each other. Actually, one of my clients, she became very, very, very close to my heart, and we talk every now and then, and we share experiences and everything. So most of the friends that I have made have been online through
Yes.
my sessions, through my Instagram. Uh, but everything it's by the phone or Zoom or whatever. But I don't have like right now where I live. It's very very small. It's very near a village. So like I don't have a lot of people that I hang out with or. But usually when I was in Gurgaon, also we had a very big group. It's like Colombians in India. The Colombian embassy organized that. So like there is a lot of like not a lot, but like there are Colombians living in India, like throughout India.
Oh,
For the New Year's Eve, they invited us to the Colombian embassy to like celebrate New Year's Eve. So we were there and we like celebrated with like Colombian food and Colombian music, and it was very very nice. And we are planning one day to move like south, maybe Bangalore or maybe Pune. And I have some friends there that I have met through social media.
wow, that's nice.
So for
So I think,
me, Instagram has been everything. Like all my friends are Instagrammers.
yeah, no, but I think you're the first Colombian girl I met who is living in India. I think there is one more. I think she replied me, but maybe she doesn't speak enough English, so she kind of
That
didn't.
is the thing. The thing is, a lot of like in Colombia, we don't speak English that much. As I said, when my husband started working there, he struggled a lot because no one spoke English. Actually, English became like very important a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
I have I had the advantage that I started learning English when I was 4 years old. So for me, it's just like I can speak Spanish or English without a difference. I just like communicate myself very, very naturally. But for a lot of people, it's not very easy. Actually, I am a salonier in a women's app where we do women circles, and a lot of the of some of like we tell stories in English, and for a lot of women it's very very difficult to express and like to tell stories in English because they can't communicate. So yeah, like it is difficult. And actually it's very funny because when we were living in Colombia, one of Rahul's friend, he met his girlfriend in Ecuador, and they got married when we were in Colombia. He doesn't speak Spanish and she doesn't speak English, but they got married and they have a baby. So
That's
we have
amazing.
always wondered, like, how do they do? Like, it's
Yes,
very like,
I can't
love has
understand that.
not language.
No, I can't understand that because I know some Russian girls who don't speak English and they're married to someone. One is married to Englishman. She said that I communicate with the dictionary. I say, come on, how is it possible? How can I so
Yeah,
boring?
it's so
Can't know everyone.
like I speak with my husband a lot. Like I share so many things with him, and I don't understand how you can have a baby without being able to communicate to each other,
No,
you know.
of course, of course. And but
But
I was really surprised that you speak really good English because that's
thank you.
true. Many Spanish speakers they don't know English. Even if I go to Spain, if I ask someone, do you speak English? They say first they say yes, and then they say un poco, and then they continue in Spanish. Yeah.
No, as I said, the thing is, I got used to it. No, like I have spoken it since I was 4. It's just like for me, there's no difference between like I actually met my husband speaking in English. We never spoke in Spanish like for the first months. So now, like sometimes we just like speaking English, speaking Spanish. We don't know which language we speak, and it's very funny because one day, sometimes we wonder like what language our kids are going to talk because like Hindi, Spanish, English, like they don't even know what language they're going to speak. But
Yeah, and
like for me,
there is one thing, yeah, when I offer some Spanish speaker, go, okay, let's have live session like I'm having with you now. They feel really shy. They say that, oh, we are not sure about our language and we will make accept with Spanish, this and that. I say, it's okay, you can write, I can understand you, it's not a problem, but somehow they still feel shy, yeah, that it's better.
yeah, it's like most of the Colombians that I know, they struggle a lot with English. So like, I can ask if someone wants to share their experience and everything. But yeah, like it's not very easy to find Colombians like speaking like very
No, but I
naturally.
don't mind it because I explain all the girls. I am not a native speaker. You are not a native speaker, so it's normal to have
Yeah,
the accent. No one will mind it, so it's fine. You can speak the
I
way you
feel
can.
I feel it's more like just like being shy and like unsure about it, but it's just like you just go with the flow and you just let things like you start sharing whatever it comes to your mind. It is like this is not like you're not going on TV. We're just doing a normal thing, like a very personal thing. So like it doesn't matter if you're like fluent or not. You just can do it, no?
Yes, and I see one girl. She's from Mexico because we were also going like we maybe do it all
Oh
together.
yes.
You know, probably her. That's so nice. Our daughter will be learning Bengali, Spanish, and English. Wow,
Yes,
that's
yes. So
great.
like mine, maybe like my husband speaks 5 languages because we are in Darjeeling. It's a border, so like, uh, he speaks Bihari, he speaks Bengali, he speaks Nepali, and he speaks Hindi, and then he speaks English and he speaks Spanish.
Wow.
And he understands a lot of things, but of course, like Bengali, blah blah blah. No, we're going to learn Hindi. They are going to learn Hindi, Spanish, and English. And maybe if we move to another country, they'll have to learn another. We don't know. A lot
How
of things
many
can happen.
languages your kids will speak? They would be polyglots.
Yeah, sometimes I feel that when they're growing up, they're not going to know what they speak because there's like a lot of languages in their head.
Yeah, but that's actually nice that from the childhood they will get this chance to be involved in so many languages. It's really nice. I see something. My aunt is from Mongolia and she couldn't speak Czech when she met my uncle, and still they got married even she don't understand it well, and they can't speak English. Yes, some people just
Yeah,
without knowing
I
languages.
believe that relationships do not have a language. That's why I learned. Like you can just fall in love without being able to speak the same language. That can happen.
Yeah, that's true. And I would like to ask you, would you realize yourself professionally in India? Is it difficult for a foreigner to find a job there?
To be honest, I haven't been very active looking for a job because I just got my OCI. It's just like 2 months ago, but it arrived like when I arrived in India, I had a dependent visa. As a dependent, I am not able to work. I don't have a work permit. So I am dependent, completely dependent on my husband. So like, if you look for a job, they're going to ask you for a visa and you can't work. Um, I applied for my OCI. That means like overseas citizen of India. I applied last year, and I got it in February this year. But it arrived. I had to get it in Colombia. I applied for it in Colombia, so it arrived to my parents' house. and I haven't been able to bring it. It's just like a card, it's like a little passport that
Yeah.
it's the entrance, no? And I haven't been able to get it here, so I'm waiting for a friend of my husband to come to India to bring it, and so since without that, I don't have an Aadhaar card, I don't have a PAN card, and I don't have a bank account or anything. So I haven't like my plans. I am a communicator. I studied communications and filmmaking. I have a master's in photography and another master's in digital marketing. I used to work for Decathlon in Colombia. So one of my biggest plans when I came to India was to keep on working in Decathlon. Didn't happen because COVID happened. So I
Yeah.
was not able to start working. And now that I have my OCI, like I need to figure out things right now. I don't know. Like I'm kind of enjoying what I do, like doing online sessions and like connecting with women and doing programs about like healing
Yeah.
and on LMS and all these things. So I kind of like what I do. So I don't know what is going to happen. My life since I arrived to India has been very uncertain. So like a lot of things can happen,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but I can't tell you about finding a job because I haven't been able to do it. Like I haven't been in the home. Like I haven't taken the time to look for a job because I am not able to work for the time being. I
Yeah.
my OCI is going to arrive around next week, and then they're going to ship it. And with that, I have to apply for all these papers that allow me to work. So like, I don't know what's going to happen.
But would you like to work in future? Where do you see yourself in which sector? What would you like to do?
I don't know. We have big plans. We think like the headquarters of my husband's company are in Bangalore in South India. We kind of like the idea of moving to Bangalore. It's a big city, it's very cosmopolitan, it has a lot of foreigners.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like, it's more like our kind of thing. A lot of young people starting family, getting babies. So, like, there's a lot of things going on like us.
Yeah.
So I believe, and it's very, very close to Mysore. There is a lot of yoga. There is a lot of spirituality going there. So I'm very interested in that. There's also a possibility to move to Pune. I loved Pune so much, and there's
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
thought
things.
it's a wonderful city. Yes, my husband went here and he really liked it so much. Yeah.
Yeah, Pune, like it's very, very interesting. But as I said, our life in India has been very, very, very weird. Like we don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen. Uh, and then we also have plans to move abroad. Like we kind of want to move to a central place, like maybe in the middle of Colombia and India, or like not in the middle, but like Europe, that it can be easier for me to jump to Colombia because from here it's very, very far, no? And sometimes it gets difficult. Um, but we don't know. Like many things can happen. We're just open to whatever and like letting life flow the way it should flow. We don't know.
Yeah.
We have a lot of plans, but what I have learned in these 3 years is that whenever we make plans, God laugh at us and say like, "Yeah, that is not what I have planned for you." So just
Yeah.
deal with it.
For
So
many people.
we kind of think of things and like Bangalore sounds nice, Pune sounds great, going to Europe sounds great. And the thing is, my husband worked 6 years in Ecuador, no? So he speaks very well Spanish.
Yeah.
He's very fluent in Spanish. So that is very important because he can do business with Latin America, no?
Yeah, of course.
So
Yeah.
that is a thing that a lot of people don't. That is an advantage he has, but we don't know we can do with that. How what we can do with that? So we're just like open to whatever can happen.
But what about you? Do you see your future in India or more in some maybe third country or maybe in your own country?
To be honest, I see myself working online, so from all around the world. I want to move around the world. I want to stay in India for some time, but we have already stayed for a long time.
Yeah,
So maybe it's time to move out. We don't know. Like I would like to go somewhere else. As for job related, I think that I have always dreamt of working remotely. So like maybe I want to pursue my online therapies, my sessions, everything that I have been doing here in India in a big scale around the world, because I want to reach Latin America, I want to reach Europe. I have worked with people in Australia, I have worked with people in India, but I want to move towards Americas a little bit and Europe. So I can work from wherever in the world. And as for my plans, I think um I would like to live a little closer to my family.
yeah,
Maybe a third country where we just like in the middle, not in the middle because it's not possible, but like somewhere in between, that is not Asia but it's not America. It's just like, like a third country where we could just take one plane and be in Colombia, take one plane and be in India. That would be amazing.
yes,
Because of course, like I in these COVID times, I was not able to go to Colombia, and it was horrible. Especially uh, my birthday is the 24th of December,
hmm,
so Christmas Eve. And for me, Christmas is huge. It's very, very important. And here in India, like where I live, they don't do anything. There is not even a Christmas tree. There is no Christmas carols. There is no,
yes,
And
that's
in
true.
Colombia, it's like huge. Like, December is crazy and we eat so much. And 9 days before Christmas, you get together with your family and you prepare food. And, it's so crazy. And here, nothing happens, like nothing. And the first year was horrible. I was like, oh my God, like, what is happening? I miss the Christmas tree. I miss like so like all these things like give make me homesick. So
Yeah,
I have talked with Rahul, like I can be in India all the year, but Christmas is like I need to be uh, in the West. I need to be US, in Europe, like anywhere. But
yeah, yeah,
here is you celebrate Diwali, and Diwali finishes, and the year is over.
yeah.
Nothing happens. And boy, that was very, very hard for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, it's very different there. They don't celebrate Christmas. They don't celebrate New Year. Okay, they decorate put some decoration in the malls and maybe in bigger
Yeah,
cities. Yeah, but not in small places. No, no.
yeah, it's not, it's weird. It's
Yeah,
just like not Christmas feeling at all.
yeah. I see many people
Depends.
eating Christmas and
Depends.
Yes, yes. So you're not alone. Yeah,
Oh my God, yes, please. I don't know if I can go when I can take a bus to Kolkata because I can't take. I'm going to be like very big in December.
yeah. And I have a
Uh,
question: if your family visit India, did your family visit India? Yeah.
they haven't been able to because of COVID. They were going to come in 2020 in April, but they weren't able because of COVID. We're planning to bring them now in December because my baby is supposed to be born in January.
Ah, that's right.
So we were not sure if I should like to have the baby in Colombia or to have the baby here in India. But like going to Colombia is a little bit hectic because I have to go around September. I have to stay like around 8 months. Of course, my husband can't go to Colombia for 9 months.
Yeah, of course.
So because his job, he's doing an MBA.
Mhm.
So it's very difficult. And I cried and I told my mom, like, I don't think I can do this Christmas without you here and being like about to explode with a baby in my belly. So we're trying to make it happen for them to come. That would be amazing.
Yes.
And it depends because in India there are some places where they have Christmas celebration. Goa was a Portuguese
Yeah.
thing. It was how do you say? It was Portuguese. It has a lot of Portuguese influence. So like they are Catholics, there are churches, and there is a lot of Christmas celebrations there. In Kerala, there's a lot of celebrations.
Yeah, they have many
Uh,
Christians. Yeah, there.
Depending on the state and the influence of Catholicism, um, Christmas is bigger. But like right here in the north, no, at all.
Unfortunately, yes, that's true. Yeah, I see in Calcutta, it's a lot of decoration and they really celebrate it a lot. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
because
bigger
in
cities.
Kolkata there is a huge Saint Christoph's church, I think. There's a huge Catholic community, and there is a beautiful church. I went there. I lived in Kolkata soon when I arrived to India, and Kolkata is amazing. But they have a beautiful cathedral,
Yeah,
and we were investigating like where can we spend Christmas in India, and Kolkata came.
yeah, it's the nearest. Actually, yes, to go there and celebrate. Maybe you can join another girl. You're both
Yeah, that would be amazing.
countries. Yeah, that would be fun to celebrate together. I
And he lived 1 month in Mexico and he adored Mexico. He's like, my God, he's like, I love
I
Mexican
thought that's
food.
a wonderful place. I talked to one girl. She lived in different places. Her husband is from Uruguay, and she told me that now they're living in Mexico. She said that the people, food, everything is simply amazing. It's the
No,
best place on the earth.
Mexicans are our brothers, like soul sisters and brothers. Like we
Yeah.
connect very well, and Indians connect very well with the Mexicans because of the spices and like the food and everything.
Oh
So
yeah.
we are very fond of Mexico, and we actually had our honeymoon in Cancun, and we're obsessed with Mexico. Like for us, if we could go and live in Mexico, that would be just like the dream.
I would
But we
like to
need to
go
find
there.
my
I
husband
would
a
love
job
to
there.
live in South America. I really love food, people, everything. Language, yes, it's my dream to learn Spanish. Maybe one day I can speak
Oh, we
Spanish
can
with you.
teach you. We will teach you.
Oh, yes. Because I started learning myself when the COVID started, I was kind of, okay, what can I do? And then I just was so motivated to learn Spanish, but somehow I stopped, and now I really want to try again because it's a very beautiful language, very sweet, very
Yeah.
romantic. I just love it. Spanish songs, I can listen to them all the time. Yes, so
Yes,
now I
yes.
have someone to practice with. That was my main
Yeah,
concern.
you have two women now to practice with.
Yes, sure, I will. And I would like to ask you like two more questions. One is about what do you think about Indians? What make them really different from others, like especially Indian men? If you compare with Colombian men, you were mentioning that you would never marry Colombian men. What is so scary about them? Maybe you can compare a little bit on your personal experience.
I don't know. Like I have a very weird perception about it because a lot of people say that India is very like patriarchal and like it's very treats women very submissively and women are not allowed to do this and not do that, you know. But
Yeah.
I believe that I have met, like I have seen a part of India where um, women are very respected, women are very um, honored.
Yes.
And as I have studied about energies, for example, and religion, because I'm very fond of what Hinduism is the only religion that accepts a goddess, a female goddess. So, like in India, we have Durga, we have Kali, we have Shakti, we have a female goddess, and people worship like them with a lot of strength. Durga is it's huge in West Bengal, like insanely huge.
Yeah.
But in the rest of the world, God is a man, you know. So like, the more that I have understood that, the more that I have learned, there is a lot of worshiping for women, and like, maybe I'm wrong, and a lot of Indian women are going to say that I am just living in a dream, but what I have felt is that uh, Indian women have a lot of like, in the end, Indian women are the ones who rule the house, you know, like the men just like does whatever the woman wants. Um, Maybe it's not like that everywhere, but what I have seen, it's very, very amazing how it works. And I have seen movies where there's Indian pilots, Indian woman pilots. They're the first woman who won in wrestling for India. She won a gold medal. So I believe that even though there's a lot of misconception about Indian society, and that women are like very mistreated in India, and a lot of things, I feel that it's not always like that. There is a lot of respect for women. There is a lot of um, uh, cherish for women. Like, and I feel male. Yes, they're protective. Yes, they are caring. Um, but they're very like, there is a big I don't know, like admiration for women, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
that I haven't felt in any part of the world, maybe. Um, in other parts, like, there is a lot of need of competition between male and female, and like, we all, the women want to have the same rights and whatever. But I feel that here in India, like, it's not in that, like, I come from a country that is like, female are very inferior, no, and like, you're not supposed to do this, and you know, like, treated like that. But I feel that and I came with a lot of ideas in my head of like, I don't want to do this, I don't, you know, like, I am the same as you, and I have the same rights, and whatever. But I have understood that it is different, that male and female have just different responsibilities at home, and we don't have to fight to each other. This is not a competition of who is better, who earns more, you know, like I don't know, like, it's different. So that has been one thing that I feel that Indian men are well, like, as my experience, are very more open and allowing than in Colombia.
Yeah.
So, and there's a big difference between Indian men and Indian and Colombian men, and it's like, Colombian men are more they're easy for them, it's easier to express their emotions. Indians are not very good at that, so like, it's kind of complicated because sometimes it's very difficult to understand what is going on in their heads. And in Colombia, we're very huggy, and like, I guess in Mexico, like, Latin Americans are very
Yeah.
touchy and very huggy, and like, we love hugging each other, and we love uh, grabbing our hands, and you know, like, all these things. But Indians are not like that. So like, this kind of contact is not there, and that has been very difficult for me to understand that, like, when I want a hug, it can't come always at the time that I want, because like, you know, in front of my in-laws, he can't kiss me, or like, he's
Yeah.
not allowed to hug me, or Or like whenever I feel sad, my mother-in-law is not going to hug me because that is not going to happen. My mom will sleep with me in bed even if I'm 35 years old, you know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So like all this affectionate thing, it's very different. It varies a lot. It is
Mhm.
like they're not very expressive, I
Yeah,
would say,
yeah,
and it's difficult sometimes. But I think it's different, and then like with time you get used to it. I don't think I will get used to it all my life, so that's why I want a kid that will hug me all the time.
yeah.
But I have
Of course he
told
will,
my,
yeah. He will see his mama hugging all the time. Yes, of
yeah,
course.
like kisses me all the time, and like, like, but I've told my husband that I've told him like for me it's very difficult to like not be
Yeah.
expressive, and like all these things that I need kind of to be in my daily life. So yeah, it's sometimes I love that she's like, same here, same here. Yeah, like it's difficult. They're not very expressive. They're not very touchy, and I bet she's like me, that she's like she wants to be hugged and she wants to be touched, and
Mhm.
and sometimes they're just not like that, and it's fine because it's their culture, but it's difficult. It's difficult to get used to it. It's difficult to just realize that you'll never have a hug again because they're just not like that.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
So yeah, it's just things that you have to get used to it, and things that you can just negotiate, like maybe you can just hug me once in a while.
Yes, of course. I see also common. This is I really just like in India, but about my mother-in-law, mine is really different, and I was really surprised. She wants to give me love like to her own a little daughter, and always hug and kiss. Yeah, so maybe it depends. Yeah, also I think all people are different in India as well, so you can't say that everyone is
India,
yes.
India is like Europe.
That's true. That's
People are completely different from one place to another, like one state to another. They speak another language completely. They have a different culture. They eat differently. Like it is like a lot of countries together. It's very difficult to figure out. And as we were talking in the beginning, you can't say all Indians are like this or all Indians are like that, because everyone is different. Like India, it's Indians vary so much. Like a person from Darjeeling and a person from Kerala, it's just like they're opposite poles, like completely different. They don't even speak the same language.
yeah, yeah, that's true. But I see you are not alone. The girl from Mexico also said that I have to ask for it, but I wish it came from him sometimes. Yeah, I think hugging, kissing, yeah, it's like what you
Yeah, like the details, no? Like I don't know, Latin Americans are like, like giving flowers and like uh, it's something weird. Like I know that she's going to agree. What is her name?
uh,
Because in her tag she doesn't have her name, so I don't know how to
yeah,
call
I
her.
guess I know, I'm sorry, but I forgot because we did
So I guess she's
yeah,
going to agree with me because Mexico and Colombia it's very very similar. We celebrate Mother's Day, we celebrate Father's Day, we
yeah.
celebrate St. Valentine's Day, and we give flowers.
Ah,
Hola
Lorena,
Lorena.
Lorena, yeah, yeah, now I
So
remember.
we give flowers and we give gifts, and like and they're not like that. Like it's not natural for them, like, and the anniversary, so like we're just like very fond of doing something special, and like turning candles and blue blah blue. And here in India, like we just go to a restaurant and eat something. So
Yeah,
like, and for Father's Day, my family got together and they cooked, and they celebrated Father's Day, and it was so special. But
yeah,
here, just like the day passed and like nothing happened. But it's just like that. Like they're not used to do that because their celebrations is like Diwali or like Holi or like all these things. But they're not used to that, and it's fine. But for me, it's just like I told my husband, like you have to celebrate me the Mother's Day. You have to do breakfast for me. Take breakfast for me in bed, and you have to bring me flowers. Like I am not going to do that. Like I'm not going to spend a Mother's Day without celebrate.
Yeah, of
Because for
course.
me it's important because I have always done it. For
Yeah,
him it's just like whatever, we have never done it. But like San Valentine's Day, like we can just give chocolates to each other, like decorate the house. I don't know, like there's silly things that for we are used to forever. And Lorena can say the same. Like in Mexico they celebrate big time all these things, and here
yeah.
they don't, so it's fine. But like sometimes it's just like, can you just please just bring me flowers, because it just felt like doing it. It's just like naturally, not me asking you, can you bring me.
Yes, but you are not alone. Lauren agreed with you. She also has to ask to celebrate. Yeah, all this.
Yeah, she pushes her in-laws to celebrate things with
Yeah,
her, so like like it's just like for them it's not natural. It's just like, what.
exactly. Yeah. And I would like to ask you my favorite question, which I ask all the girls, kind of, because everyone have different opinion and maybe can suggest something different based on your own experience. Like, what would you recommend to the girls who are in a relationship with Indian men? What they should pay attention to prevent any misunderstandings, any problems in future? How to understand that man is serious? What would you recommend?
Well, I have to say three things. First, it's very important to set things clear from the beginning. Like, like to tell him what you expect, that what you are willing to do and we are not, what you are not willing to do. That is very important because you're setting like the the ground, no? And like he can say like, okay, I'm done with, or I agree or I disagree, in the sense of they're male, they're guys that expect you to be a housewife, and you can either say I can do this, or I can't, and
Yeah,
he can either agree or disagree. Same as like having children, like you can either say I want to be a mom or not, uh, because that is setting the ground. If you don't want to be a housewife and you want to work and the guy is expecting you to cook all day,
yeah,
you're going to get in trouble in some years, because he's going to expect something and you're not going to do it. So those are little examples, but like it's very important for you to be clear since the beginning. And that I really encourage to ask questions like, how is your family, how are you, because uh, some of them have had a mom that has worked, so for them it's very
mhm,
normal that the woman works. But some of them have had a mom that never worked because she always wanted to cook.
yeah,
So like that is a big difference between a guy that will allow her wife to work and a guy that wouldn't allow her mom to work. My mother-in-law, she doesn't want a maid. She doesn't accept people cooking for her because she doesn't like it. And since the beginning I told him, like, I'm not going to spend more than an hour in the kitchen. It's not happening. I can cook, but I am not going to prepare like gourmet dishes every day and spend my entire day in the kitchen. It's not happening. So that is very important to set clear since the beginning.
yeah,
The second thing is you have to understand that you come, even if it seems that you were raised in the same way and you have the same values and same principles, you have to understand there is a cultural gap. Like you can never forget that. And that usually happens because you get married and you, oh, see, we're perfect now. No. And problems are going to happen. Like you're going to crash all the time. But
Yeah.
what I believe is like, you can't give up. If you make the decision to do this,
Mm-hmm.
you have to stick with it. You know, like either is it in your country, it is in another country, you have to stick with it. I can't tell you that I haven't had moments where I just want to run away. I have. Just
Yeah.
like, fuck it. I am done with this. But then I remember that, like, this is what I wanted. This is the life that I wanted. I wanted to have a intercultural relationship. I need to deal with it, and I need to be open to understand both perspectives. It doesn't mean that your perspective is the only perspective. No, no. And you have to be open to that. Maybe he expects something and you never thought of that, but you can deal with it. Like, I'm telling you, because I always worked, I had a job, I was independent, I had my own money, I had my own bank account, I paid my own credit cards, and I came to India and I became 100% dependent on him. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, I felt horrible. And I fought every single day with myself because I was like, I am failing to myself. I can't be dependent. I can't be a housewife. I don't want this. I don't want this. I don't want this.
Yeah.
But there are moments in the relationship where you have to step down and allow things to happen. And then there are moments where you can step up and say, like, okay, this is it. Now I am doing my own thing. I didn't have a choice. And I couldn't keep fighting with him because it was not his fault.
Of
He
course.
didn't call COVID. He didn't call my visa to not come, you know, like it wasn't his fault. And
Yeah.
I couldn't keep on making his life hell because I was feeling miserable. So there are things like when you get into a relationship, no matter if it's a intercultural, but when it's an intercultural, it's worse because you're living away from your country.
Yeah.
You have to understand that sometimes you have to sacrifice some things, and it's okay. But you have to see things from a different perspective. You have to stop trying to, uh, I don't know, like cover the sun with your finger, because it's not going to happen. Like sometimes you just have to give up some things. That doesn't mean that you're going to give them up forever. It means that you have to give yourself some time. And the other thing that I think it's very, very important is that you need to understand, and probably a lot of people are going to disagree with me in this, you need to understand that the responsibilities at home are different. You can't expect him to do the same things as you. I'm not saying that he is not there to cook. He can cook.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he can clean the beds, do the bed. He can do the bed. Like, there are things that you both can do, but he can't he can't, um, how do you call that? Give milk to the breast milk for the baby. He can't do that. Like,
Of course.
he can't get pregnant. He can't do that.
Yeah.
So it is not his fault. It's just like nature's fault, you know, like,
Yeah.
and you have to understand that. So like, whenever, like, it is not a competition between you and him, like who earns more and who works more and whatever, and I'm not having kids because, hey, I want to work and he doesn't. No, like, sometimes you need to understand that women are made to do things that they can't do.
Yeah.
And I understood that, like, being here, you know, because I always thought that I'm going to have the same professional achievement and career and everything, but sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Right now, I don't even have a visa and I am pregnant, and my job is to nurture this baby to be healthy. I That is the only job I have. I can't do anything else because I
Of
don't
course.
have a visa. And of
Yeah.
course, sometimes I want to kill myself because I get bored and I don't want to do anything else. But I have to understand that his responsibility is to work, and my responsibility is to nurture this baby. Later, I will be able to work and provide and bring food to the table, but I can't expect to do the same as him. I can't expect to be a CEO and leave my children alone and let them be raised by another woman. Like,
Yeah.
that is not it, like, that is what I feel. So you have to understand that. You have to understand that you both have different responsibilities. And either you like it or not, we are made different. Male and woman are made different. We have things that they don't have, and they have qualities that we don't have, and we need to understand that.
Yeah.
And it took me time to understand it, and I always fought against it. But right now, I'm just like, life is what it is. Like, we need to understand, like, this is not a competition. We don't get married to compete with each other and see which one is more successful, because that is not it. Like, babies need the mom 100% more than the dad. You can't give the dad responsibilities,
Yeah.
but the baby is going to need you, not the dad. And
Exactly.
then the baby is going to need the dad, and the dad can do things. But in the beginning, you are fundamental. Like, you can't do anything. And as I said, like, he can't get pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's our
It's our
thing.
responsibility. Yeah. Yeah, golden words. Yes, that's why I love to ask this question, because I always hear something new, something very wise. Yeah, and I think it would be very good for girls who are really in relations and they're not sure if they should really marry someone from a different culture or not. They might think, okay, that to
Yeah,
listen to different advices. Yes.
the fourth thing that I would say is, like, you have to be open-minded. Like, having an intercultural relationship and having a relationship with India, you have to be open-minded.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are very different from, even if you think like, oh, it's very, no. Like, in India, there is arranged marriage. There is no love marriage, there is arranged marriage first. In India, there is joint families. A lot of families live with their in-laws.
Yes.
I never thought that I would end up living with my in-laws. Never, ever in my life. I would always say, like, I would never end up living with my in-laws. And I promised myself, and I have been living with them for 1 year.
Yeah. You never know.
So you never know. So you need to be open-minded, and you need to be open and allow things to happen. Because if you are just like close, you're going to crash. Like, there's no other way. You are going to crash. So
Yeah.
when you are open-minded, you're like, okay, so I can. That doesn't mean it will stay like this forever, but you need to open your heart, and you need to open your mind, and you need to realize that things can happen. A lot of things can happen, because it's a different culture. And I'm not saying just about India. I'm saying about like any relationship in the world.
Of course. Yeah.
It's different from yours, so you need to be open, and you need to understand. And if you open yourself to be in the relationship, you need to be open to fight for it. Because if you give up in the first problem, why did you start it in the first place? Why didn't you go to your comfort zone with the things that you know?
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Golden words. Really.
open mind is very, very important.
Yes, that's what I find in all intercultural couples, that they are more open, more tolerant, and I think they make our world really kinder, I would say. And the more couples like this will exist, then I would be more happy actually, because it's really beautiful, and we learn a lot from each other. Yeah, because we learn
And
about, yeah.
I feel that all the struggles make you stronger. Like, if you are willing to fight for it, and you are willing to accept the differences, in the end, you're going to be like iron. You're going to be stronger.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
takes time and it hurts sometimes and it surprises, and sometimes you just want to give up and you just want to run away. But that is what gets you stronger. And I don't know if there's a lot of divorces in intercultural marriages, but I believe that a lot of us fight for it. Like, if we met around the world, that means that we're meant to be together, so like we might have fight for it, no? So I feel that it makes us stronger. Yes, it's not easy. It will
Yes,
never be easy.
it's not. Yeah, yes, there are a lot of, and two people should be ready, because I see a lot of Indian guys, let's say, when they ask me, okay, we want to marry a foreigner woman, and I see that many of them, they don't understand that it can be very difficult. Actually, they might think that it's so easy. Okay, they love our culture, everything would be fine, but no, it's not easy. It actually needs a lot of sacrifice, a lot of understanding, a lot of tolerance, even more than when you marry your own type, I would say.
It's very important to have that clear, because many of like most of the men that I have known, that when they say they want to marry a foreigner, they think that we're just going to adapt, and that is not going to happen.
Yeah,
Like,
of course. If you're expecting
either
that,
it's a woman or it's a male, you come from a different country, you come from a different culture, and you were raised in a different way. There are things that you're going to be adapted to, but there are things you're going to negotiate, or there are things you're going to fight for.
yeah,
And that is something that has to be clear since the beginning. That is why one of my reasons is like, you have to set the boundaries and you have to set the things clear. There are things that I'm not willing to negotiate. Point. That is it. Either you like it or you don't. But this is who I am. And if they are expecting everything to be condescending and like, oh, I'm just going to give up for everything, that is not going to happen. That is like an ideal world that doesn't exist.
yeah, exactly.
So a lot of them think that it's just like, oh no, like we're going to do this and that and that, and you're just going to be okay with it. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that is not going to happen,
Yes.
because
So,
in the end,
what do you think before marry someone from other country? Yes, that's what I
yeah.
ask.
So like, if you want things to be like as you were raised, like, just find the woman that was raised in your neighborhood,
Yes,
because it's
exactly.
not going to happen. Like, that is a myth. That is a myth that we can just like all adapt. Yes, we can adapt and we can negotiate, as I said.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things you can negotiate, but there's a lot of things that it's not going to happen. Either you like it or you don't. But you can't expect the other person to just give up on everything, because a relationship is two sides, and you
exactly.
have to give some things and the other person has to give some things.
Yeah,
So
that's how it works. Yes, this is the point actually, and I'm glad that you say it during this live session, and maybe some people will really think that maybe it's better
yeah,
not
just you
for
can
someone.
rethink about it. You can
Yes,
just like meditate about it sometime, and if you're sure, give it a try. But it's
yes.
not that easy.
Yes, of course. Yes, and all the couples whom I met, they actually proved that there are difficulties, and of course, if you really love each other, if you really support each other, yes, you can overcome them. But if you try to change your partner, if you marry, I know these cases that you marry, that some Indian guys marry a foreigner woman and they try to make an Indian out of her, then it won't be successful for sure.
No, and like I am telling you, because like I love Indian culture, and I
Yes,
love
me
wearing
too.
a bindi, and I love wearing a bindi, and I love wearing sindoor, and I love wearing the bangles, and I have the rings in my toes, and I have the rings in the things in my ankles, and I love wearing Indian clothes. That doesn't mean that I'm becoming Indian,
Yes, of
and
course.
I'm not going to be an Indian. And I have told him so many times, I am not going to, I was not born in India, and I am not going to be an Indian. I don't expect, I don't hope, and that is not my plan. I
Yes,
am Colombian and I will always be Colombian.
yes,
So
that's true.
since the
That's how
beginning,
we should be. We should be proud of who we are. Yes, exactly.
exactly. And even if you adapt with some things, there are things that you don't, you know.
Yes,
And yeah, but like you get so well with Indian culture, that doesn't mean that I'm just going to give like forget about my roots or anything. No.
yes, of
I
course.
can eat curry, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop eating chicken with salt, you know. And Lorena the same, like she's Mexican and she's not going to stop eating tacos and carnitas because she's living in India. No.
Yes, of course,
She's
because
going to
they're
be
used to
fond
it.
of tacos, she's going to be fond of carnitas, and she's going to crave for them so much that she's going to like make them at home, you know.
Yes, exactly. And she agrees with you. Yes. So I should
Because
advise
I
you.
crave for tacos, I crave for burritos. Like I have been like I've been dreaming of tacos, you know,
Yes, I
because
can.
that is who I am. That I am Latin. I am like you know. I love sweet plantain. I love patacones. Like, and I am obsessed with the Colombian sweets, and I'm obsessed with Mexican sweets. That is not going to change.
And it shouldn't change. And now I really want
No,
to invite three more South American girls, and I really want to talk to you. I will try to organize it because
that would be
I really
crazy.
love you guys. Yeah, I would say that I really love South American people. Yeah, they're the best, indeed. I always felt
That
that.
would be crazy.
Yes, let's try to, because there is a Lorena, I think she agreed to meet. Yes, there is also one more girl from Peru. I will check with her. She was supposed to come sometime if we decide to meet. Yeah, so I will try to organize it. Yes, there is one more Mexican girl whom I'm going to meet tomorrow. So that's, yeah. Don't start with the food. I'm gonna get homesick. Yes, I
I
get it.
know. I try not to talk about food because and I
Yeah,
have been craving for like tacos so much. I don't know why. My baby is like half Mexican, I think.
of course. Yes, they would be half Latin American, yeah, by blood, yes, of course. Erika, I would like to thank you. It was really a pleasure talking to you as I expected, and I would like to thank you so much for your time,
No,
for the
thank you.
explanation, for sharing your experience. I would like to thank everyone who were with us. I'm sorry, guys, if I missed some comments because there were so many of them, so I just couldn't concentrate. And if you have any questions and if you want to ask something to Erika, yeah, you can always write her directly, or you can write some comments under our live session. So you are very welcome. If you couldn't watch us, I will save everything, and of course, I will upload it on YouTube. It depends where you prefer to watch. And I really hope that we will meet again. I will check with other girls, so we will plan something and just choose the right time.
No, thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for doing this. I think sharing our stories and inspiring other people is very beautiful. I love being here and I love being connected. I hope we can do this again, and I hope we can connect with Lorena because we have a lot of things to talk.
Yes, it is. It
And
will be my pleasure. Yes, yes, yes.
no, we'll be in touch. Where if anyone has any question, whatever, there is my Instagram, or you can just yeah, connect with me. I'll be happy to answer. But I think we sorted all the questions together, so
Yeah, I'm
I
sure
think we're
that
good.
if something, there were some comments. Okay, they were not only questions, but if someone wants to ask something, that
Yes,
you
please.
can always, yes, contact. So let's meet again. Yes, I hope soon. It would be my pleasure.
Yes,
Indeed, yes.
just let me know
And
and
I
we'll
hope
connect.
I will be more confident in Spanish soon, and then we can have some conversation in Spanish. Yeah, because it would be
Yes,
my
yes, yes,
pleasure.
yes. We'll be happy. Lorena is very happy, so we can just.
I see something
Uh,
in Spanish. Me
Me
encanto.
encantó. I love the session.
Oh, thank you very much. It's
Thank you so much. We enjoyed so much. It
yes,
was like a long session, but we
yes,
enjoyed
no,
so
yes.
much.
But I see a lot of people were with us until the end, and this that makes me
Yes, that is very, very exciting. I love that you stayed. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for connecting, and I hope to see you all again soon.
yes, of course, yes. I will surely plan something with the two more girls. We need two more girls. I will check. Yes, Lorena, I think she will join us, and one more. So
Yes,
let's
perfect.
have a Latino Russian gang, yes, online. Yes,
Perfect, perfect. I'm
that's
down
it.
for it.
Yeah, let's keep in touch. It will.
Yes.
Of course, we will continue communicate. It's like I really like talking to you. It's always a pleasure, and you can see I also love talking. So it's not be.
Yes, yes. I'm like, oh my God, she loves talking. So like we do a good team.
Yes, I'm not a typical Russian, no, because Russian people, some of them are
No,
more
because
cool.
sometimes I get into interviews and just like I'm look like words come out and people are like, huh, okay, bye, goodbye.
I can't
It's
talk
like,
like that. Sorry,
yeah.
no, I can't talk. If I have a person like that, I won't be able to communicate.
Yeah, for me it's very difficult because I'm like, so can we talk? So
Yes,
yeah, no, it was very nice. We can talk for hours, but
yes,
I
I
think
can carry on. Yeah, but I will let you go. Yes, and
yeah.
it was really nice. Yes, thanks again, and I would
No,
like.
thank you so much, and we'll keep in touch.
Yes, I would like to wish you a wonderful evening. Yes, and for sure, we have a
Thank you so much.
namaste. See you soon.
Namaste.
फिर मिलेंगे.
Bye.
Like they say in Hindi.
फिर मिलेंगे.
फिर मिलेंगे. Bye bye. How do you say it in Spanish? Like see you again.
Nos vemos, nos vemos.
Nos vemos. Nos
Nos
vemos.
vemos pronto.
Ciao,
Soon. See you
ciao.
again soon. Nos vemos pronto. Bye.
Nos vemos pronto. Bye bye.
Bye.
See you.
See you.